Welcome to Ramble 47. Okay, so Arceuus Spellbook came out officially. Um and it's kind of made some changes for me. So in my previous ramble I was talking about me preparing to go for rank 1 Fasanis, and a lot of that prep was getting burnt pages, getting wrath runes for my harm staff. Turns out the harm staff is actually not going to be best at, well, currently it's not best at solo nightmare anymore. It's better to use the Arceuus Spellbook and use Thralls. So let me just pull out my runes real quick to make this just a little bit more apparent, I guess. But yeah, so pretty much there's these Thrall spells, and these do like I want to say it's like I think it's point 0.6 DPS just increase overall. So whatever your current DPS is, I think it increases it by point 0.6. I might be wrong on that, but it's something very stable because they don't roll accuracy. It just rolls between a 0 and a 3 every single time, every 4 ticks. And so basically the entire kill, you're just every minute spawning another resurrect greater ghost thingy, the little ghost thrall, and that ends up being better DPS. And especially because when you're in the pillar phase, these ghosts now shoot at the pillars that you're attacking. So back in the tournament world, I have a video of me doing like the tournament world nightmare, and the thralls just didn't even acknowledge that pillars were enemies because they're just objects. They're not actually enemies. And so it was really interesting that during the tourney world testing, I was like, okay, so these thralls might not be worth it because they don't attack objects; they just attack monsters. But apparently now they do, and the ghost deals double damage, similar to any other magic attack. So yeah, this is crazy good because you're using it for the entire scything and then also the pillar phase, which is crazy. And then Death Charge is super good to use there, especially like current solos. Every minute or so on phase 2, there will be another parasite spawn, and you can cast a spell every minute. So for the most part, you can get a Dragon Claw in every single parasite until probably like the last parasite during the pillar phase. So as long as you have really good DPS, like a scythe and stuff during that melee phase. So this makes it really good as well. And it's just kind of weird because thinking back a month ago, I was for sure that the Arceuus Spellbook wasn't going to be good against Nightmare. And there was 3 reasons why. One of the reasons was Madaiza had like confirmed in a tweet that you have to wield the Book of the Dead in order to gain the benefits of Resurrection. So, and it was literally like you have to have it equipped at all times. And so that already defeated it because I wanted to use a scythe during Fasani's Nightmare. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to be using Arceuus anyway because of this. And now it turns out you just need it in your inventory. And then the second thing was the Death Charge. I was under the impression you could only use it against Slayer monsters. And I don't know what caused me to think that because I can't actually find any evidence on it being Slayer monsters only. Anyway, this is another issue that like I thought this was going to be for Slayer monsters only, and now it turns out you could just use it anywhere. And then the Thralls, I didn't know would be able to attack the pillars on the pillar phase because they didn't work in the tournament world. So 3 different things that I thought were going to be completely like making the spellbook obsolete there. It turns out that all 3 of them actually do work, and now the spellbook's OP. So I've been asked by well, I don't think it's that big of a deal to like leak it or anything, but Mod Light had asked me, and a bunch of other creators, I'm assuming, of what our ideas are to make the harmonized orb, the harmonized staff useful, because currently I think this staff's going to be plummeting soon. It still has great use in PvP. Anyway, I kind of want to share an idea for this staff, what it could do. So you guys are probably wondering why is this staff not good anymore? Because you have to be on the standard spellbook. So, for example, like Nightmare, I I couldn't use Arceuus Spellbooks because I would need to be using Fire Surge on the standard to use this. And it's just not worth it because you might as well just use your Arceuus the entire time because you get additional benefits like Death Charge. So I will kind of explain briefly. Let me just pull this up. I had two ideas, and these are the ideas I kind of shared. And I want you guys to basically say in the comments what you guys think of them, what your own ideas are. My ideas are not perfect. I've kind of rethought some ideas just to for balance perspective. Anyway, let's see. So I think I could just pull this up. There we go. Okay, so my first, I guess, first idea, I should say, is goes as following. My original thought was to allow the Harmonized Staff to be able to autocast all combat spells from every spellbook, minus Ancients, at a 4-tick speed. This idea wouldn't make it worth using a Nightmare anymore, but it could find other niche uses outside of it. One example of its new use could be casting the Arceuus Demon spell 1 tick faster, which would actually make the spell not completely useless for endgame players. So this is one of the ideas. And I think it would be kind of cool that the Harmonized Staff doesn't just auto-cast standard spells 1 tick faster, but it can cast any spell, any combat spell, besides Ancients, because I think that would have too big of an impact on the game. And this would not really make the Harmonized Orb any better, but it would definitely make it so, I don't know, there's future use. Anyway, here was my second idea, and I really want you guys to let me know what you think. So I say, now, if the idea is not only to give the Harm Staff love, but to also keep the standard spellbook used, my suggestion would be to add an entirely new spell called Elemental Surge that could be cast at level 98 magic on the standard spellbook. It would require 2 Wrath runes and 10 airs, waters, earths, and fires. This would encourage using combination runes to save inventory space. This new spell would be able to max a 42 against 1x1 opponents, so this is compared to Fire Surge's 36 with max gear minus the tome. But this new spell won't be able to utilize the tome's fire effect. So when Elemental Surge is cast on a 2x2 or larger opponent, a passive 25% damage bonus will be added on, making the max hit against Nightmare Pillars and other large monsters a 55. So the reason I say 2x2 is it's just the simplest way to avoid any PvP conflict. Because West Ham had brought up a good point in one of the tweets. Mod Arcane had suggested that the Harmonized Staff potentially have a built-in kind of standard spellbook effect. But then West Ham had brought up the point, you would be able to use Vengeance and a Tome of Fire with, Fire Surge and a Harm Staff in PvP, and it would just be too busted. So, yeah, a lot of considerations with PvP. That's why I had mentioned the 2x2. So currently the max hit you can get with a Harm Staff and Nightmare Pillars is a 96, which is doubled, so it's 48. And I am suggesting a 55, and this would actually make it so this staff is actually going to be used. And this might be a little bit game breaking, or I wouldn't even say game breaking. I would just say this is a buff to the Harm Staff, but we also got a huge buff just having the Arceuus Spellbook. So we have that, and it's either you nerf the Arceuus Spellbook or you make the Harmonized Orb a little bit better. And I am just recommending we add an entirely new spell called Elemental Surge. And what's cool about this spell as well is it won't require burnt pages. So I know it sounds very selfish, but for Iron Men, they don't need to rely on getting 200 mil Wintertod to be able to use their brand new Harm Orb whenever they get it. They would just be reliant on Wrath runes because this spell would cost 2. So I feel like that's fair that this new spell is costing 2 instead of 1. And then if you have any combo runes, this would be a great place to use those combo runes, because using 5 different runes for one spell is pretty crazy. So these combination runes would actually have a use. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. And yeah, that's kind of the idea I had. So now I kind of want to share. I kind of want to share just my overall opinions on this spellbook. So this spellbook is very. It's so unique. It's almost like I've heard comments saying this spellbook is almost like a bad update for the game. Like there's too many like weird changes. It doesn't seem familiar enough. It doesn't seem very old school. So I'll give a few of just my opinions. I think over time, whenever any new update comes out, it always just feels a little out of place or something. Something just doesn't feel right. Like the game just feels a little bit like off for some reason. And there's been other updates that have made me feel this way. This spellbook definitely makes me feel that way, where I see like these new thralls and shit, and then people suggesting, oh, the thrall should be better, and basically suggesting summoning at this point. I'll just kind of briefly explain how I'm feeling about the spellbook. Spellbook's fine. I like that it has use. Dark Lure. Shadow Veil. Shadow Veil is the big spell I've been using. I've been doing a lot of thieving off stream. The thing about Shadow Veil, and the thing about a lot of these spells, is the whole spellbook seems very tedious. It seems like you're just constantly having to do these minute cooldowns. It really feels, I've never played World of Warcraft, but it feels like one of those games where you have like all these like abilities and shit, and like every single one has like a cooldown and shit. So you're just constantly spamming these cooldowns. I've played similar games where there's like these effects and there's just these little timers going down, and you just recast the spells as much as possible, and that's what this spellbook really feels like. And I don't know how I feel about that. I'm probably just not used to it, so we'll see over time how I feel later. I do feel, however, that some of these spells could be extended. For example, Shadow Veil has a minute currently. I feel like it would be cool if Shadow Veil could last. There was a suggestion on the Q&A that instead of it lasting 1 minute and 99 magic, it would last 2 minutes. And it would cost double the amount of runes. And somebody was saying, oh, it's already such an expensive spell. I'm going to explain why this is not an expensive spell. You might be thinking 5 cosmics for one cast. Even if you were to recast it every 30 seconds, which is like the cooldown, this would only be costing 600 cosmic runes an hour. And that literally takes 5 seconds to buy 500 cosmic. It literally takes 2 seconds to buy like 500 cosmics at the Prith shop. And so there's people like saying like, oh, this spell is really expensive. No, it's not. They could quadruple the cost and make it a 2-minute spell. I feel like there's going to be Runelight plugins coming out soon as well that are going to help remind you to recast Thralls and this new pickpocket spell and shit like that. But I do feel like this spell could be a little bit less tedious by making it last for 2 minutes instead of 1 minute. Because it really does feel like a lot of the time your thieving is just focusing on getting that spell off. In fact, I've gotten to the point where I just recast it every 30 seconds. Whenever I see the spell have the cooldown off, I just click it again. I literally can't be asked waiting for it to despawn. And I have 165,000 cosmic runes. And Sarachnis shits them out too. So overall, my Sarachnis grind, like I don't feel like I'll ever be hurting on cosmics. So I just cast it whenever. Now, Thralls, I don't really have a good idea for these, but these feel very tedious. I think they're priced very well. Like 5 blood runes is it's a balanced price. I feel like 5 blood runes, 1 cosmic, and then 6 prayer points is quite a cost. So it won't be used everywhere, but I will say this. If you are on the Arceuus Spellbook already, these Thralls really do add up, like DPS wise. So it's just one of those things, again, though. It's just the tediousness of it. I think about going to Sarachnis for 500,000 kills in the future once I get my mace, and I think of just, am I going to be using Thralls the entire time? Because it is better DPS. It costs a shit ton of runes over time. I literally wonder how many it would cost to recast these every minute, just to cast a Thrall every kill, because the kill's about a minute long. I really wonder how much that would add up to. In fact, I could just do it right now. 2.5 million blood runes. Okay. 2.5 million blood runes, because if I'm casting this once per kill, 500,000 times, then yeah, 2.5 million blood runes to do that, which actually doesn't even sound that bad over 5 years. So I'll probably be using Thralls. It's just one of those things where it's so fucking tedious. But at the same time, Death Charge I'll be using there. And luckily these spells are like adjacent to each other. So before every kill, basically, I just click both of these. That's probably my plan. But yeah, the Spellbook just feels very tedious. A lot of the spells are. So Sinister... Demonic and Sinister Offering. These spells are really stupid. So I'll show you something real quick. I had a couple demon tasks. And I was like, you know what would be really cool is if I collected a bunch of these ashes. And then I did something like, for example, Hallowed Sepulchre. I bring in some ashes into Hallowed Sepulchre. I start doing my Sepulchre. And then I'm casting these demonic offerings while I'm running, but these cannot be cast while you're doing anything. It interrupts everything, so you have to stand still, which I think is the stupidest thing of all time. And it just actually bothers me that you can't just run and cast this. Yeah, so that's kind of an issue. I had a bunch of like skilling methods planned where I'd be using these demonic and sinister offerings. Probably not sinister because the Chaos Altar exists, but these demonic offerings had a chance of having some pretty good use. But now it's not really worth it because you have to stand still. So this whole spell is just kind of like awkward. It's still worth it probably to cast it. I don't know. I'd have to look in like Olympus Discord to see like what, like, if this is worth it, casting demonic offering and banking ashes and shit. But very underwhelming spell. Not a big fan of it. These Demon Bane spells are also really shit because an Arc Light slaps way harder. Like, pretty sure if you were to use like this spell like against like a demon task, compared to like max mage, so max mage with this spell, I think I'm just gonna pull a number out of my ass. I think it's like a 54 or something you can cast. Maybe it's a little bit higher on task. I think it's around like a 55 or 54 or something like that to cast it. And it's a 5-tick attacking weapon, whereas an arc light can already slap like 62s, 63s occasionally, and it's a 4-tick attacking weapon. So back to my suggestion of the whole harmonized staff change, it would be really cool if you could cast a spell at 4 ticks and be able to utilize the harm's effect with these kind of spells. I haven't used these Undead Grasps yet, but I don't think they do deal much damage. Anyway, just a little bit of my thoughts, I guess. The Spellbook just, it's a lot. It's a lot to take in. It almost feels like private servery right now, but that's just because it's brand new. But I still am overall a fan of it. There's been some really nice spells. I've also tried out Dark Lure. I just hate being in Puro. I feel like it would be really cool if they came out with like a Puro 2.0 or something for like super high skill requirements or something, or like full quest cape. Something where like bots and Venezuelans can't just be camped in there. It would be really cool if there was like a new place where you could just catch Implings, because Implings are pretty shit on Iron Men. Anyway, that's for a topic for a different day. Anyway, kind of a little bit of my thoughts. So now you might be thinking, so what's the plan now if you're not using a harm staff? Well, I got a bunch of pages saved up. I got a full tome, got some additional pyro pieces, but I won't be using a harm staff at Fasani's most likely, unless there's a change coming up. But I still do plan to go for rank 1 Fasani's. I've been doing a little bit of hard mode TOB. I got a holy kit. It would be really nice to pull a Sanguinesti. I'll probably do a little bit more hard mode TOB over the next week and a half. See if I can pull a Sanguinesti for Fasani's. But if I don't, it's not the end of the world. I can just use a Trident. But yeah, I'm very, very much looking forward to Fasani's. Just get my mace, move on to Sarachnis. Got 43 elites banked. That's going to be fun to open. So whenever poll 76 comes out, they're going to be pulling the elite clue change. I've been doing a little bit of Willy Slayer here and there, and I'm just missing a Dagon High Hat. When I finally get my Dagon High Hat, I will be fully completed with the Wilderness. Every single piece of content in the Wilderness I've completed at that point. So I'm very excited to send out the little tweet of all the shit that I have and the pets and stuff. So that'll come eventually. Who knows? Might take another 500 keys to get the hat, but I'm feeling optimistic about it. I might get it soon. I opened 100 enhanced crystal keys. Didn't get any more Dragonstone armor, but I already have 2 pieces. Trying to think what's new. Almost have 10,000 purple sweets. Pretty nice. And I eat these occasionally, so this isn't like total. I think I've had like probably like 15,000 total. The other thing is I might be coming out with a Bandos video. So I have been a little bit interested. I feel like just with how I'm playing the game currently, with so many like changes in the game, like I was so focused on Nightmare, and then Fasani's was announced, and so I couldn't do Nightmare, and I've been just doing some random content. Makes me feel a little strange doing things, just being able to like kind of play this game in a more, what am I trying to say? Like, just I have more variety basically, and it feels weird. I almost feel this sense that I enjoy the game by camping one thing, which is really strange because I don't feel like I've ever felt that before until I started Nightmare. But I really just enjoy the camping one thing. So I've been feeling a little off lately, past month and a half or so. But what was I saying? I lost my train of thought. Fuck. Yeah, I completely lost my train of thought. Anyway, God damn it. Yeah, completely forgot where I was going there. Anyway, yeah, I don't know what I was trying to say, but yeah, I'm looking forward to Nightmare coming out. Looking forward to getting back on the grind and just being able to go back to clue hunting eventually. So yeah, I apologize. I completely lost my train of thought, and after this video ends, I will remember what I was thinking, but it was nothing too important. So I will see you guys on the next one. This Tuesday, Lops is going to be on the Sebe cast, and then I guess I'll leak it because I'll leak it for those that listen to my rambles. But Rigondow, the streamer, is going to be on the Sebe cast the following week. We've got that set up. So yeah, that's a little leak. So if you guys are excited for that, this probably directly after the Lopsy cast, like that Wednesday or Thursday, I'll have topics up for the Rig cast. But yeah, looking forward to both of them big time. And I've been a fan of Rig for like ever since he was like Arceuus when he first started streaming. So it's going to be a really fun cast. Lopsy's he's just so fucking funny. So yeah, going to be a lot of fun these next 2 casts. And then I got some other guests lined up as well. Not fully planned, not set in stone, but I feel like you guys are going to be liking the next month or 2 of guests. So anyway, I'll let you guys go here. Tell me your thoughts in the comments of my harmonized orb suggestion, or harmonized staff, I should say, suggestions. And yeah, catch you on the next one. Peace.